So, yesterday we started Perek Gimel, and there the Rambam's title for this Perek, the subtitle is concerning the diseases of the soul, right? The ailments of the soul. And yesterday we saw that the Rambam draws this analogy between physical illness and moral, let's call it moral illness and moral deficiency. And that is when the appetite of soul primarily is dysfunctional and is acting out of balance. And the analogy is just that usually the way we identify a sick person from a healthy person is symptomatically, right? No one knows, we don't have X-ray vision, so you don't know if someone's healthy or sick. And we judge a person symptomatically. So if this person is acting out of balance, unnatural, if this person, in physical ailments we saw yesterday, if this person eats things that naturally a person doesn't find any pleasure in eating. So if someone finds pleasure in eating sand and coal and things that are very, very high in sodium or very high in sugar, these type of things, then we assume that this person has an imbalance in the general function of his body, and therefore he needs to go to a doctor. So too, says the Rambam, when someone's moral judgment or someone's behavior is not balanced, then what a healthy person is, right? The first thing is we need to define what a healthy person is. A healthy person, we saw yesterday, is someone whose expressions and actions are consistently balanced, kind, and good. These were the three things that the Rambam said. Balanced, balance is not really what he said. He said proper. Proper is balance. That's what we're going to see. But proper, kind, and good. That is a healthy person. And what's key is that it's consistently like that. Because we don't judge a person based on, a good day and a bad day. A person that is consistently good and kind and proper, that is a healthy person. A person who consistently acts inappropriately for what the situation calls for, and he is cruel and wicked and evil, that is a sick human being. A morally unhealthy person. And a person that his soul is unhealthy needs to go to a soul doctor. Just like someone who's physically unhealthy needs to go to a physical doctor. And a physical doctor is someone who understands not only the symptoms. Every person could see, symptomatically when someone is not healthy. The question is, like what we said about a blood clot. I'm not a doctor, and that's why when I see someone's foot hurts, then worst case scenario, the guy has a foot issue. A doctor understands that it can be a life-threatening issue. And that's why when you go to a soul doctor and he sees this aforementioned Kiddush fresser, right? He sees this 50-year-old guy grabbing food by the Kiddush, then a regular person says, okay, this person has a situation that he needs to work on with his food. A soul doctor sees a much bigger issue, there's a fundamental problem with this person's soul and this person's balance, and if this person won't go for help, he's in big trouble. So now we're going to talk about the type of help we need to go to. Where are we at? And so people who are physically ill, and they recognize that they're ill. So by the way, the people who recognize that they're ill are, these people are way ahead. They're ahead of the game. Because knowing that itself is a big part. So unfortunately, it's like that there's a big movement about going for testing. Ashkenazi Jews have, we have our special genetic makeup that makes us more susceptible for many types of cancers. And therefore, there's so much awareness is being put in now just in going to test earlier than the general population, right? Because even that education, knowing that you're susceptible for a problem, knowing that you might have an issue, that saves thousands of people's lives. So knowing that you're someone that needs to go for help potentially, that itself. But now, what should a person do when he knows he's ill? So when a person is physically ill, he goes to a doctor and the doctor tells him what he has to do. And by the way, what does the doctor tell him? A doctor looks at you and the doctor says, listen, you're craving coal and sand and salt. So whatever your judgment, you're so sick that you can't trust your own judgment. And that is the first thing you need to know. Because the reason why... Again, so this person, let's say that's diabetic, and that has a tremendous sugar craving, right? So the first thing the doctor says is, you think you want to eat all this, you don't. You have another issue that is confusing your senses, so you can't trust your senses. And you have to trust me to tell you what's good for you and what's not good for you. And as long as you won't trust me, and as long as you're going to do whatever you think, you're going to drive yourself down the drain. So the first thing you need to do is stop trusting your own senses and trust me because I know better. And you're too sick to trust your own senses. Now, a normal, healthy person, when a person is healthy and consistently good and kind and proper, that person can trust his own senses and should trust his own senses because his senses are pure, his machine is working, his mind is clear, his appetite of soul is functioning. So this person should trust his own senses and maybe should even guide other people. But this person that is, just like the person that's physically ill, what the illness does is it confuses his senses and it tells him that coal is good for him. So the doctor says you can't trust your senses. So the first thing is, just like someone who goes to a physical doctor and the doctor tells him what he needs to do, and the doctor tells him that whatever you think is good for you, stop doing. Stop going down that path. Stop eating that food you've been eating till now, even though your body tells you that you need it and that it's good for you and that you're craving it and that you want it. Stop. And whatever you think is not good for you and whatever you're repulsed from and it's not good, maybe in this, sometimes it's medicine that's very hard to swallow, the doctor is going to say that is good for you. And you're going to need to trust him. The doctor, he's going to have to trust the doctor that it's going to give him medicine that might be disgusting and bitter. And that is the only way. And through the guidance of the doctor, he can return to choose and good and stay away from bad. The same thing is with Chol Nefashos. So this is where the Chachamim, they are the Ref Nefashos. So when someone knows that he has an issue, when someone knows that something is not okay with his soul, he feels that something is wrong, he recognizes that he's not in the right place, there's something dysfunctional about his soul, about his reactions, about his actions, about the way, the choices that he's making in life again and again and again, he has the self-awareness to realize that he has a problem, so he has to go to a soul doctor. A soul doctor is the Chachamim. Who are the Chachamim? The Chachamim really are first of all, Chachamim, Kishmai Kenu, they're Chachamim, they're Tamid Chachamim, they're Elachidin, they're wise, they understand the right, they know right from wrong, they lead healthy, balanced lives. These are Chachamim, and then Chachamim are also, we have literature. We have the Chachamim, Rabbeinu Yoin as a Chachamim. The Rambam, what we're doing now. What we're doing now is what the Rambam means by going to the Chachamim, reading Pirkei Avos, learning learning Chazal, Shari Tshuva. These things, Masil Sisharim, that is going to Chavis Avos. That is going to the Chachamim. Going to the Chachamim and they tell you what you need to do. And the problem is when you're going to try doing what you think, but the problem is you're sick. And you don't know, and even though you're in your moral anger and crusade, you think you know, but you don't know, and that is key. So the key is when you're sick, you go to a doctor. When your soul is sick, you go to a soul doctor, and these are the Chachamim. Sheheim Roifei Nefashos. They are the physicians of the soul, and they're going to tell you, they're going to warn you that you should stay away from things that are bad, even though your senses tell you that it's good. And vice versa, right? They're going to tell you to stay away from certain things that you think is good and engage in things that might be uncomfortable for you and painful for you and things that naturally you don't want to do. And that's how they're going to heal you. Now, the methodology that they're going to use to heal you, that's going to be discussed in the next parak. So the next parak, we're going to discuss how to heal a sick soul. That's the next parak. Because we have to define, we didn't really define, really, we gave very general outlines of, healthy is someone who acts properly. We don't know what proper means. Good and kind, we don't know what good and kind is. So good and kind and proper. So we know that a healthy person is someone who consistently acts good and kind and proper. What that means, we're going to see in the next parak. And we know that a sick person is the opposite of that. So what that is, we're going to see in the next parak. And then once we know exactly what it is, we're also going to get the prescription of the Rambam, who he's the Chachamim. And he's going to give us the prescription and sort of a plan how to heal someone who's sick, and all of us. Now, so up until this point, the Rambam said that someone has the self-awareness to understand that something is out of whack in his system and his appetite of soul. That's our primary patient, right? So the appetite of soul, who's the the anger and the jealousy and the greed and the kind of type of a covet, the love and the hate and all that, right? So that's the appetite of soul. That is where I think we all need a lot of help. And that is the area where sometimes we engage in behavior that looks to us that it's good, at the moment at least, but the problem is that we dependably and consistently make these bad decisions. So they're not a fluke. The problem is that so now in many cases we know what's wrong. We know when we yell when we shouldn't. We know when we indulge in certain pleasures that we shouldn't. We know sometimes when we're guilty, but we can't help ourselves, right? So that means that we are, and our appetite of soul collectively needs a massive doctor. And so hopefully most of us, most of the time, know that and have the self-awareness and look for help, seeking for help. And that's the problem. So if you seek for help, you go to the Chachamim, you go to Rabbeinu Yoina, you go to the Avos, you go to Rav, your local, and that is something you should do. You should go. My mother told me yesterday about a Yid in Milwaukee who would come to my grandfather, Remichel Torsky. He would come to my grandfather every Erev Rosh Hashanah with a list of the things he worked on this year and consult. He has his Rav. He would consult. This is his shaila. He's asking every Yom Kippur, everyone's busy asking, if you need a fast, if pregnant women, nursing women, sick people, heart medication. These are the shailas people ask every Yom Kippur. The main mitzvah on Yom Kippur is to do tshuva. So, sometimes you have people, unfortunately, probably more common by Bali tshuva, that come to the Rav and say, okay, heal my soul. What am I doing now? What should I take upon myself this coming year? And how do I, halavai, we should be in that situation. We would be so much better off if we would have that sort of self-awareness and that sort of acceptance to be'emes go to someone who is a soul doctor. And I would highly recommend everyone does that, including myself. Go to someone and have him write a prescription for you. What do I do now? How do I find what is the right thing for me to do? So that is someone who has the self-awareness that he needs help. That is the worst. What do you do with someone who thinks he's healthy? He doesn't know that he has a problem. When we say that Omer Mar Shu Masik Masik Shumar, to the extent that he's convinced that he's the only guy driving the right way on the highway. So what he thinks is sweet to him, and he doesn't realize that he's messed up. Now, sometimes there can be someone who feels that something is wrong, and his conscience tells him that something is off, but he ignores it. So he'll take Tylenol, he'll engage in, that's even worse, right? We could think which one is worse. So you have two people here. So really we had three people. We had one person that's, my Zayd is Chassid in Milwaukee. So he's a tzaddik nizgif, this guy. He's a person that's going to be helped. He's a person that's going to be a tzaddik one day. He's going to cure his soul because he's aware that he needs help. He goes for help and he works on himself. That's the best person in the world, right? None of us, let's not assume, none of us are people that really have a healthy soul. We're not there. Our appetite of souls are absolutely messed up. So if you have the self-awareness to go to a chacham, to go to a soul doctor, then there are two people that don't go. One person doesn't think he has a problem. He's convinced that he's the only healthy person in Klal Yisrael. Then there's another person who knows he has a problem, but refuses to go for help. I'm not sure which one's worse. But they're both, medically think about both of these people. Right? Because that's the analogy that the Rambam. So you have the person that doesn't know that he's sick and he's keeping on eating a tremendous amount of sugar or sodium or whatever that is. That person is not going to have a good end. And then you have the other person who knows that he has a sugar issue and he continues to eat by kadeshim and eating garbage. Yesh la'ayin, who's worse off? So the Rambam says, the mergishim by ve'enim misrapim achrisam diya ka'achras achodesh alach achanos ve'enim misrapim shu yoyvad b'lisafik. This person is going to die. A person that keeps on indulging in whatever. Now, if you apply that morally, when we talk about moral death, we're not talking about physical death. So a person that thinks that his ways are right, and he continues on that path, and whatever he thinks is good, he's going to continue doing, even though they are morally wrong, then he will die. He's not physically going to die, but he's morally going to die. And moral death to the Rambam is that this person is going to live his life as an animal and not as a person. And as the Rambam said in the end of the first parak, that person should have been or wasn't. This person his existence as a human being is a waste of time. This guy's a behemoth. Like you said, he has the matter of a human being, but if you don't have the form, if you don't lead your life through seichel, and you could only lead your life through seichel if your seichel is pure, if your judgment is clear, and you have a true seichel, and as long as because nefesh adam nefesh achasu, because your soul is interconnected, you cannot be a real person that his tzura, his form is human, his form is seichel, his form is connection to Hashem. If your appetite of soul is corrupt, and if your appetite of soul is acting out in all sorts of ways. So these two things don't go together. So if your appetite of soul is sick, and you don't go to a doctor because either you don't know that you have a problem, or even if you have a problem, and you continue indulging in whatever behavior, you continue going down that path, even though your instinct and your conscience is telling you that something is off, and you ignore that, then this person is going to die morally. And dying morally means you're just going to be an animal. You're going to be an 80-year-old animal. And just, what a waste of a life. According to the Rambam. Not as an oynish, just by default. You're just an animal. Animals don't go to the Mahaba. So if you're, by the fact that your body looks like a human being, you're not a Vermitzik V'Akiv, you're not that. You're just an animal. So it's just sad. Again, so the Rambam says that these people, let's go back to the people, so these people that know that they're doing something wrong. So sometimes you have someone who he knows, you ask him, the behavior, the path that you're going down life, the way that you're leading your life, is that the right thing? He'll tell you no, but I'm doing it anyway. So the Torah, he says, the Rambam says that the Torah talks about you. The Torah says, that this is a person that says, the Rambam has a pachid of a taich on the Masvois means that he adds, he's satiating himself, he's quenching his thirst, but he's only making himself more thirsty. What the Rambam is saying is that this person has an urge. He's thirsty. He feels a deficiency, and because he feels a deficiency, he craves something. He wants to take something in, just like, imagine that person that has a sugar issue, right? So he's trying to compensate. He's trying to quench that thirst, but the problem is he's doing it in the wrong way, and he's doing it in a way that's only going to make his problems worse and not better. And that's the tragedy over here. So the Rambam says that this person who's morally bankrupt, this person that is his moral judgment is out of whack, is dysfunctional. His appetite of soul is sick. So this person, when he continues going that way and he continues indulging in that behavior, he's making himself more and more and more sick. So we're all in this situation, but when someone stands inside and that person looks, and this person sees this person desperately trying to quench his thirst, so the Rambam says, you are legitimately thirsty because you have a problem. The problem is that you're trying to quench your thirst by things that are only making you more sick. So you're making yourself more and more and more and more sick. You have a legitimate thirst. You have a legitimate problem. You have a legitimate smeya, but you're only making yourself worse because you're consciously going down the wrong path. And this person's gonna drive himself, straight to the netherworld. So the Rambam says, he tries to quench his thirst, and he just adds himself thirst. So this is a person that consciously goes down the wrong path. He's the Masvois HaRovas Atzmeya. It's people who b'chlal don't feel. That Shlomo HaMelech says, that a fool thinks that his way is the right way. But Shemei Le'etz HaChacham. So the Rambam says that we're still talking about the fool. That if you're a fool and you think your way is the straight way, I don't have time to say you. I don't expect anything else. You're a fool. So that's what you're going to think. But Shemei Le'etz Chacham, even if you're a fool, you can be a Chacham. Go consult someone else. So you come to the Chacham, come Erev Rosh Hashanah, come with that paper, say, Rebbe, I think that I need you to tell me Shemei Le'etz Chacham. If you're Shemei Le'etz, then you could be a Chacham. Then you're going to be a Chacham by working on yourself, but at least being open to the idea that you're not, that you don't know the right thing. And not the one that you think, then that's a person that has hope. And then there's another person. A person thinks that his way, is Yashar, but the problem is that this way that looks to you Yashar, that is the way down to the netherworld, right? So you're going to Achrisa Darkei Moves, and that is someone who doesn't understand. He leads to his own doom, right? Because you're a fool and you don't have the openness to consult a Chacham. So the next parak, the Rambam is going to say how to heal these people, and the Rambam is going to, we're going to sit down on the couch, sort of in the Rambam's clinic, and the Rambam could heal us. And this is sort of going to the Chacham. Although we admit that we're derech evil yosher b'einav, but at least we should be shemei leitzah Chacham, and we should accept and we should open ourselves to the healing process that the Rambam is going to give us. And then, even though that we are at this point of Elim, but perhaps we'll have a refuah and we'll become chacham. So that is what we that is for today. So today we go home with the idea that we know that even though we are not in a position to judge ourselves what is good and what is bad, because our senses are confused, but at least we should be open to the chacham. And then when your conscience tells you that something is off, go to the chacham. Don't say don't try to take in more and more and more and more to quench that thirst, because that thirst wants something else. That thirst is indicative of a much bigger problem. Don't try to put a band-aid on that, because it doesn't need a band-aid, it doesn't need Tylenol. They need some real treatment. So we should be open to that, and then hopefully we all have hope.